Hey guys, how's it going? An Anxious Man here. This is Anxiety in a Quarantine, episode 8. I'm going to be calling this episode Fighting in the Comments. So, as you guys have known who have been watching my videos, I am basing these series of videos on being someone who's anxious in a quarantine and how it's affecting me, good, bad, everything in between. I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos thus far. Um, So this video is based on some observations that I made over the past couple of weeks. I mean, in my life on social media, but mostly in the past 2 months during this pandemic. And before I continue, let me say, yeah, look, I got a green screen, so behind me it's the universe. Yeah, I'm gonna be splicing it up and spicing it up and making it look cooler here at Anxious Man Studios, which AKA my tiny office slash closet slash office slash whatever. So yeah, so as we all know, we all use social media, whether it's here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and there's a bunch of other smaller ones. It is mostly fighting. It's mostly opinionated nonsense, passive aggressive, spiteful weirdness, to say the least. Now, in the past 2 months, as all of us know, there's a pandemic going on. I myself have been home since the middle of March. I am looking to stay home for as long as I have to, or as long as I feel that I need to. And how it's affecting my anxiety. Well, for the most part, I'm okay. I hate saying the word I'm fine because fine is kind of a four-letter word. Mark Maron, the comedian, I've said this a bunch of times in my videos. When someone says I'm fine, what they're really saying is don't go, stay here, don't leave me. But I'm okay. In my last video, I filmed it outside on a bike ride. That was Sunday. It was a couple days ago, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed taking the bike ride, getting out, getting some sun, getting in the open air, and then recording outside. A friend of mine watched the video and he said that I sounded. You could hear in my voice. I sounded like really anxious, and I was a little bit more than I was actually talking about. Probably because I was out and there was people within earshot, and it was a little. It's just a little embarrassing to record in a public space. I mean, I wasn't right next to them. They were maybe a good 30, 40, 50 feet away, but I can hear them, so I assume they could hear me. And yeah, I just get a little self-conscious. So I think one of the challenges I'll do in one of these videos is do that again. Go to a park or a place where there are people, obviously within a correct distance. Not even just because of social distancing, because I don't want to sit next to someone at a table and just start recording a podcast. I think that's kind of weird. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It just feels off to me. But that was kind of so maybe the challenge. My next challenge will be do it again and speak like I'm speaking now in a comfortable space. But this video is about, again, a friend of mine put it a couple weeks ago really great. There's a vacuum of information right now. The media is pretty much talking about the same stuff. So other people are filling that vacuum with weird documentaries. Conspiracy theory has never been higher. It's never been more infuriating. And I feel like people, for I don't know if I want to say the right or the wrong reasons, are susceptible to it. We're all, I think, on some level afraid, confused, um, which can manifest as like anger or um, uh, lashing out in some way, or just no one knows exactly who to be mad at, but they are naming, it's the left wing, the right wing, this person, that person, this entity. Because there's really no one, I believe, that is to blame. We're a species on Earth, just like every other animal. Viruses come through, this kind of chaos happens, and because we're storytelling animals, we kind of fill in the gaps with our own narrative. And it's not saying that one narrative out there that's floating around is true or untrue. I say the best thing to do is follow the smartest people on the planet, the scientists and the experts, and then of course there's a zillion people who are just refuting them, and it just goes on and on and on. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about specific conspiracies. What I'm going to talk about today is simply fighting in the comments on social media and how I believe it's either a product of people who are anxious, and B, causing anxiety based on my own experience. So I'm just, as everyone knows, I post here on YouTube, I post on Instagram, I post on Facebook, I share the things I create uh, in order to connect with people, have conversations, do something creative, etc. In the past, have I gotten into arguments on the internet? Yeah. When the flat Earth movement was at its peak a couple of years ago, I was getting in it. It was just too interesting and weird and scary to leave it alone. There were people who were adamant. They're still out there. They're not gone. They're just now they moved on to some David Icke, and you could look that guy up. I'm not going to put a link in my description. Look up David Icke. He's like another weird conspiracy theorist, and there's a million of them. And they're onto the new thing now. The COVID is the new thing, and but what I'm seeing is on the internet, and I know I'm not, I know I'm not giving any new information. Most people who use the internet and are on social media know these things. They see them. We all see them. Some of us take part in them. Some of us don't. Some try not to and can't help it. Or it's like a weird. On one hand, you're an emotional creature, so you want to share your opinion. You want to share your ideas. You want to interact with people, whether it's negative or not. I mean, sometimes I guess it's like a gray area, whether it's a negative or a positive interaction. But I feel like a lot of it is just spiteful. It's arrogant. It's passive aggressive. It's directly aggressive, and it's just so for some reason people are way more aggressive and way more argumentative and way more ornery on the internet. Is it because there's a protection between you and the screen? Is it because that's the real you and you're letting your ego and your id out just to run amok? Or are we doomed? I mean, I have all these questions. Now, I like I said, I go through internet comments, and there's some things I see, and I'm not going to pick on one side or the other. And what I'm talking about now is how, just in my basic observations, you can argue with me if you want in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. Hopefully, it's not an argument; it's a conversation, an agreement or a disagreement, or I want to hear your feedback clearly after you watch this video. But in my opinion, in my 36 years on this planet, I don't think I've ever seen the public, my own friends and family, and people that I know and people that I don't know, be so divided, so hardcore, to the point where your entire persona online, and maybe in real life, IRL, as the kids say, is just political. People are identifying completely with their political leanings. Not the things they like, not the things that make them them, but just who they're voting for. It's like politics has become, or maybe it always has been, like a sports team. And people are, it's like just the other. And if I look at it like, if you're a right wing and the right wing guy does something that is quote unquote shitty based on people who are not right wing, if the left wing guy did it, you'd think it's shitty. But if the right wing guy does it because you're on the team and you're making your identity align with this team or this group or the tribe or whatever you want to call it, you won't go against. And I think it's on both sides. It's left, it's right. I feel like most of us are not in the middle. I kind of think I'm more in the middle, maybe more left leaning, but I'm a rational person. Like, I don't want, certain groups of people not to have rights that other groups of people have, and I think you should be allowed to do and say whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt someone directly or with malice. Like, you can say whatever you want. You can use words. If someone gets offended, I kind of feel like there's a lot of debate to be had there. But now what I'm seeing online is there are certain things that they're not even a thought. It's just a statement designed and provided to get yourself in an argument. I'm not really sure why it happens. Are you bored? Is it fun for you? Do you like to just get people riled up, get yourself riled up? Are you addicted to those emotions, the endorphins and the testosterone and the chemicals in your body? when you get all riled up. Is that like? I mean, I really feel like it's a lot. It's part of that. We're addicted to the chemicals our brain produce when we're either angry or sad or upset. We're addicted to the things we hate in a lot of ways. So I have some stuff here. I'll put the pictures up here next to me or somewhere on the screen. You can read along with me. But here's the first one that I see this all the time. I blocked out people's names, not their pictures, because I guess you can't really track them from their pictures. And I have a couple theories here. The first one is, and I'll put up on the screen here, is this comment. We've all seen it, whether you're for the president or against him, or you agree with him or you disagree. This is the most annoying, juvenile. It just Trump 2020. That's your entire answer. It's a statement. It's like an exclamation point. And it doesn't feel like support. It feels like just argumentative. It just feels like you think it's going to piss off a certain amount of people, and it does. I mean, I responded to this particular one. So this particular person wrote Trump 2020. I put him in red. All the rest of the people I blocked out in black. And I just wrote, here's another one, because I'm been looking and I actually responded, which I usually never do. But again, I'm not really arguing. I'm just sort of like curious. So I wrote, here's another one. Are you all the same person, a team, organized, or just bored to tears with your real life? Hi. So now on the next picture I'll put up is this person's profile. And it says everyone wants a slice. It's pretty cold here, and there was a hashtag I blocked, and I blocked out there. I don't want to put anyone in particular, because I don't. Again, the thing about it is, are these real people? Because look, 6 posts, but they got a lot of followers, and they're following a lot of people. Now, BHHS, I'm assuming this person's on high school, or, and I don't want to sound a little conspiracy theory weird here. Is there a group of people making up these fake profiles just to antagonize people on the other political spectrum, like actual people in politics, like, low down on the totem pole? Or is it just like, kids go through Instagram accounts like fucking socks, and they just, this just happens to be a newer one, or he's only posting 6 and spending most of his time doing this, writing Trump 2020 or antagonizing other people on social media. And I'll put the next one up. So the next one is another person, and again, they're blocked out in red. It says, "Shut up. Trump is the best president this country has had and is doing his best." Now, I guess this is a statement, and I guess this person actually might believe it. But again, next picture is the person's profile. They're a follower of Christ, and they have a Filipino something from the Bible. And again, it says Trump 2020, but 3 posts, but quite a few followers, and they're following quite a few people. Most of these accounts that you'll see are private. Most of them are private, which makes me think, is it private because you made this account just to fuck with people? Is it private because it's not a real person? It's like these bots or these entities online just stirring the pot. And it works. I hate it, but it actually works. People are just, as we speak, as you watch this video, as I record it, as I edit it, as you're watching it now, long after I put it out there, it's happening. Every video, it could be a video of kittens climbing a fucking tree, and there's 10,000 comments underneath it, and people are fighting about cats, or fighting about politics, or religion, or whatever. And you look at this person's page against private 3 posts. So is this a real person? Did they create this account? Is someone creating? Again, it just seems to me, in my own experience and watching this kind of shit, that it's just to fight, just to get yourself riled up, to rile up other people. And I don't understand why. And I'm going to go through all these, and then I'll continue talking. So the next one is, imagine blaming Trump for a virus he has no control over. Well, technically, yeah, he has no control over the virus. I understand that. And again, you can look at the picture and look, not the president, leave him alone. Like, I mean, is that sarcastic? I don't know. And then I go to that person's profile, and again, I blocked out, but again, they're private, 22 posts, a good amount of followers and following. It's like, is this a new account? Is it, again, just a troll? Like, the word troll, I hate the fact that it's a fucking term that we use to mean this kind of person and not a mythical creature. But is that what it is? Shit posting, trolling? Is it like an identity? And what's the end game? I get there's always been like people who fuck with other people and ball busters and jesters of society or whatever. But it's just, again, from a person who has anxiety, I look at it and I ignore it. 99.9% of the time, I don't say. I just scroll past it. I don't. And these comments are on like a famous comedian's post. Are famous people getting political? Yeah, because they're regular people. But I feel like maybe they don't want. I don't know. Are they adding to the shit stirring? It's just so weird. Um, like I said, I don't interact because it is. It's just like a waste of time. No one's changing anybody's mind, and it's not about changing minds either. It's just about why can't there be a communication? It's just yelling and screaming. Is anyone? And I just can't help but think why. But I guess the point is, if you find yourself, if you're an anxious person in general, any level of anxiety from severely chronic to mild, anxiety, are you engaging in this sort of thing? Are you going online and looking for a fight, looking for an argument, looking for someone to disagree with? As Bill Burr says, go to www.imright.com, find the thing that supports your narrative and is against theirs, because there is that a lot on the internet too. There's just enough information or misinformation or bullshit or manipulative information that anyone's opinion can have a little space. And on one hand, you think, oh, that's great, freedom of speech, and everyone has their voice. But in the most informed era in human history, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like there's information out there. It just feels like there's a lot of manipulation and arguing and misunderstanding. There's so much information that most people have no idea, so they create this narrative, and that's what conspiracy is. It's just all taking the same reality and just twisting and spinning it and melding it to their um, emotions and fears and whatever's going on in their life, etc. And it's just so weird. Now I know that's all like right wing people there, those three people. Now here's one who is an anti-Trump supporter. So the next picture, again I blocked him out in red. Me too. The Trump tards are spreading the virus. I mean, I understand what he's talking about, but it's all caps, and it's, again, it's about, you want to give your opinion, but like, what is actually happening here? And then right underneath him is someone just spouting out some nonsense. You see this too, like, people won't actually say a thought; they'll just say something from the Bible or some religious thing. Or I saw something on Facebook yesterday, some woman, some pastor with hundreds of thousands of followers on Trump's page saying something along the lines of like, I saw in a dream God was with you, and it's like, what? We're taking all these different things, religion, societal, and just melding them, and I gotta say, like, just making up shit to either make ourselves feel better, make the day go by better, to ease our minds. And I understand the want to ease the mind, to escape the anxiety, to escape the thoughts, the existential crises we're all going through now and all times. And then his next one. So we'll go to the next one. So again, blocked him off in red. You all need to cut Trump off. And the next one's his page and his memes and what I was talking about before. So now again, you're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to feel how you want to feel about who you feel and whatever. And you can argue with me if you want. I mean, I'm really not going to engage in arguing, especially on the internet. And you're allowed to have your own opinion. But if you're just setting out to like fight, you know, and I think it happens in one or two ways. One, you're the antagonist, and you're just putting out Trump 2020 because you want 142 comments, you want the attention, you like the dopamine, and you want to get into an argument. You may believe or you may really want Donald Trump to win, or whatever political party to win in this election. But is that was that a question asked to you, or are you just again putting it there because it's a fight? And two, is someone doing that, and then you, I mean, even if you try to go into it whatever sensibly you can, and like, well, sir, I understand your point about Trump 2020, but here's blah blah, and you're gonna spout facts out and change the person's mind, or get them to agree with you. Again, what is the end game here? What's the actual goal? What's the fantasy? And this guy, he obviously is not a Trump supporter. But I've noticed when I go to a lot of these people's pages who are the ones fighting, not all, but again, I didn't do a ton of research. I was just curious and just going through, taking screenshots. As you can see, these are just screenshots off my phone. And what I find is that, and I have to assume, safely assume, it's a lot of people that, like I said earlier in the video, that their whole identity as a person, at least how they're representing themselves on social media, because social media is a great tool. especially now, keeping in touch with friends, doing a lot of virtual open mics. I'm able to make more of these videos and get stuff out there and sort of like put myself out there and do something creative. But a lot of people, and you know them, and if you are that person, damn, I'd love to, let's talk. Why or what's the, is it so important political or political life or political ideas that on social media, when you go to these pages, every post that they post up, and if you look through them and hit them and click them, it says, they're posting 12, 16, 20 times a day. Every post is within a couple hours of each other, and it's just political memes, and a lot of them are the same with different text. So a right wing will take a popular picture that's floating around the internet and then just make it go to their thing. So they're almost irrelevant. And you could say like, yeah, it's funny, it's a joke, it's just whatever. But if you look at someone's Instagram page, which again isn't like their resume or their manifesto of life or whatever, I don't even know what to call it. But so I'm putting this picture up, and this is two different profiles. People's names are blocked out. One is pro-Trump or right-wing, I guess. I wouldn't say it's completely pro-Trump. It's right-wing. And one is the opposite. And if you really look at the memes, you can definitely probably tell the difference. Some of them are clearly, there's a one that's making fun of a Trump sticker or whatever. But when you look at them, it's like a fucking weird jigsaw puzzle of like, is this a person? Is this an actual human being walking around the earth? This is all they're thinking about. This is all they want to share with the world. Because Instagram is not exactly like Facebook, especially Instagram. It's like the only people who are looking at your page are your friends, or if you have something to share. Obviously, it's in their feed. We all know how social media works, and I understand the ups and downs and the negatives, pros and cons. I think it is whatever you make it, and it could be great. It could be a tool, a great tool to with your business, for artists, for anybody, just to communicate. But it's these people, and they're all races, all ages, all genders. It's very strange to me. And I look at these things, I'm like, is that all you think about? Is that all you feel that's worth sharing with the world? Is the same regurgitated bullshit? And of course, do we all share funny memes and videos in our stories on Instagram or on Facebook? Yeah. I go on YouTube all the time, watch music, videos, and just post it up there. I mostly post like either stuff I'm creating on Facebook and Instagram or something that's funny. Like today. Today is the 19th of May. Patton Oswalt's new special came out today. So I recorded it on my phone, put it in my Instagram stories. Like, hey, I'm watching this. It's coming out today. We love you, Patton Oswalt. And Patton Oswalt hearted it. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to float in that all day. Yeah, am I famous now? No. But it's cool that a guy that I like and I've been following for 20 years and he's a comedian I like and he's gone through quite a bit. If you know who Patton Oswalt is. If you don't, check him out. He's really funny. To like interact. So I think to me that's like the great thing about social media. In like I guess it's so far removed, but it got an interaction with a guy I really enjoy and like and follow and have paid to see him and watch his specials and watch him on YouTube, and he's in the zeitgeist, I guess. That is to me the upside of social media, that I could, if I wanted to, tweet the president of the United States right now, and he could respond to me. I can be in a conversation with the president. Isn't that awesome? Except the downside is he's always on Twitter. He's always involved in some nonsense with Jimmy Kimmel or who the fuck ever, and everyone else is too. It's just not just. It's mostly, in my experience, in my viewings and using of social media, it's always fighting. I mean, we all make the joke of it, but I see people, and it's your mom, it's your uncles, your aunts, your sisters. It's like people you would think would never do this. All of a sudden, everyone is so divided and so unhappy or angry or just apathetic that they're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get into a fucking argument with my, and you see it in families. We've all got a couple people in our families, I think, at this point in history, that are at odds over Facebook posts. Isn't that weird? It's not just, yes, this is the tool of the times, just like the telephone and the TV were, and if there was Facebook in the 70s, it probably would be like this too. People would it would be all raw opinions and and just weird anger and fighting. But it doesn't make it better that it's just us in our nature. You know, maybe on one hand we shouldn't have all this freedom to do all this shit because it would just be in our houses around our tables. It wouldn't just be our only interaction. People would, because when you're out in public, that's not what's happening. When you're at the supermarket, 10% of the store is not shopping, and 90% of the store is like having fistfights in the aisles over who's red and who's blue and who's black and who's. It's not fucking happening. It's just not. We all know that. So why, when given the opportunity to be on social media, it's almost exclusively that. And again, how it affects my anxiety. I get anxious just if I take a minute to, like, let me just, you'll see someone write Trump 2020 and there's 1,100 comments. Let me just see. I guess we all on some level are addicted to, like, what the fuck's going on. It's like when you hear a fight break out or a car crash, we run to it for whatever reason, curiosity, whatever you want to call it. And I find myself when I'm reading them, yeah, I'm getting angry. Not even at just that person, but and then because inside the comments at some point it just becomes its own living thing of now these people who don't know each other are, tagging each other like, oh, by the way, you said this thing like 32 comments ago, fuck you. And it's like, what, now I'm fighting 7 people? And I'm like, why don't you just stop? Just walk away. Like, all you have to do is scroll away from that. And it's like happening on some other digital landscape. You're nowhere near it. Unless they message you directly, it's over. And people just sit there. And we've seen people out and about on their phone. Imagine how many people are quietly sitting there, but screaming in the digital landscape. I mean, think about that. They're sitting there, they're eating at Starbucks, eating a scone or drinking a fucking ice cream coffee or whatever, or they're at McDonald's or at work or they're on the shitter, and quietly but fighting. I mean, I make a joke, and like my mom still uses just a PC. She doesn't have a cell phone, and you'll hear the of the typing. I'm like, oh Jesus, like what's, it's like you can hear. It's like the quick, like I got to get my response out quick. Now I'm not reading your response because I don't give a fuck really what you say. I'm just like basically saying my thing, and if you're not 100% agreeing with me, we're basically in an argument. It's like they all have a weird passive aggressive sort of tone. It's very strange. And I know someone who has anxiety, when I've been in them in the past, in these little arguments online, when I see a post that's just designed by media, whatever side of the media, to stir an emotion, to get, traffic to their website or traffic to their Instagram or Facebook page. It's just negative attention, but I guess it's attention. I mean, it does work. When the murder hornets came out a couple of weeks ago, did anyone click on that article? Because I clicked on it, and it was from November of 2019. And again, it's not that I don't care if the bees die. Of course, we need the bees for the plants. But why now? And if you read the article, the guy whose bees died in like Oregon or Washington never saw the thing, but assumed it could be that. And then because they had seen some in Canada, and it's like, what? This is like barely an article. It's barely a problem. And yet it was the Wall Street Journal that posted it. Really? How is that not just a manipulation? How are you not just taking advantage of the fact that everyone is home right now, watching their screens, and afraid and uncertain and fearful and scared or whatever, and that's what it was for a week or two, and still it becomes a meme. It becomes part of the cultural zeitgeist, and it will be until next year or the year after, when we're all feeling better about what's going on, or things get better, or whatever that means. It becomes like, hey, remember that? And it's just a weird, unnecessary reason to get yourself riled up, because you're in full control of what you do on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, um, whatever, Twitter. You're fully in control. Are you getting into fights? I really, what I talked about in my last video about being curious about why you feel a certain way. Like, for example, why does it make me anxious? It makes me anxious, I think, because people are fighting and there's no end game. There's no real result. It's just fighting to fight. It's just out of boredom or out of anger or hate or some weird talking space monkey thing. I mean, I really don't know. But I think the point of the video today is like, are you engaging in fighting on the internet? If so, I mean, you could be mad at me for bringing it up. Maybe you love doing it, but really, why? Why? What do you get out of it? Does it make you feel good? And if it does, why? Why does fighting with someone you don't know, or fighting with a relative or a quote unquote friend, make you feel good? What do you get out of it? Is it power? Is it an ego boost? Is it just a dopamine hit? I understand the dopamine of notifications and how likes and comments and all that stuff works. I mean, I get all that. I understand it. I'm part of it just like everyone else is. But I guess there's like a balance of like how much time and mind space putting into the internet or on social media. So it just isn't from an anxious person speaking to other people, especially other anxious people. Are you engaging in fighting on the internet? If so, why? And I'd love to talk to you guys about it. And I mean talk. I don't mean fight. I don't mean you said, I said, blah. I don't want. If you're gonna try to argue with me, for the most part, I just won't do it. But yeah, I'd love to know like what do you get out of it? Some people I'm sure would say like, yeah, I'm a ball buster and I like to watch other people get riled up because they take life too seriously and I don't. Something like that. I understand that. I don't think it's a great way to use your time, but I understand that in and of itself. But as far as like there is real anger out there. I mean, we've all had either had the conversation or heard the conversation of people talking about I can't believe he or she or they did, and you're like, who? What are you talking about? And like, well, I post something. You're like, wow, you're having a real life problem. It's a problem because of something that happened on social media, a fight you had, an argument you had. Now you're not talking to the person for real because you're two pictures on the internet got into a fight with each other, in public, basically. I'm just like, how and why and what is the, you're not, no one's changing anybody else's mind. Actual scientists are on TV, on social media right now saying, here are facts. And lots of people, lots and lots of people are like, no, you're lying. I don't trust you. And it's like, I understand the skepticism and I understand, but why are you so angry? I think it's a lot of people are anxious and their anxiety, they don't know how to handle it or they don't want to handle it. And these things are hand in hand to the point where you're anxious, so you do this, which makes you more anxious, which makes you more anxious, which makes you angry, which makes you lash out, etc., etc. It's like really be mindful of what you're doing on the internet. What are you spending your time doing on social media? Porn, you know, watching YouTube videos, just scrolling through naked people on Instagram or half naked people. Are you making something? Are you commenting? Are you reading interesting things? Looking at pictures? Whatever it is. But if you find yourself specifically looking for a fight or to start a fight, I really would like you to question. Now, if you don't consider yourself an anxious person, you just like having an argument just because that's the kind of person you are. I do want to hear from you, but I'm like, I guess I can't help you. There's nothing I could do. But if you're an anxious person and you're wondering why, you get yourself, you do this right before you go to bed, and then when it's time to go to bed, you can't fall asleep because you've got yourself, your brain thinks you're in a fucking fight because you were. And your brain can't tell the difference between like what's happening on Facebook and what's actually happening. Your chemical, everything's all your energy's up. Is it good? Is it helping you? Is it making you feel better? I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it's probably not, right? It can't be. It can't be making anybody feel any better. And I'm noticing it, and again, it's been that way since social media, almost since the beginning of, Facebook back in 2006. Some people, I was in college. I remember when it first came out. There was no timeline, all that kind of stuff. It was just like I had a page, I had pictures. You can comment on the picture, you can like the picture, or maybe there wasn't even likes back then. I don't remember. But you can like comment on the picture, you can share pictures, tag people. It was like it was like what it says, Facebook. It was like a like kind of like what the fuck's it? Oh god, I can't remember the oh shit, MySpace, like MySpace. Remember MySpace? But even that, like so it's kind of been that way since the beginning because I guess I'm not trying to get the cart before the horse here. People are like this, therefore our social media is like this. But I feel like I feel I haven't done hardcore research, but I would assume that it's never been so polarized. It's never been so or we've never been so at each other's throats. Again, it's mostly online. You can go to the supermarket or Walmart. Sure, people might have a problem. There's real violence that happens out there, but not like that. not like what's going on the internet and at the rate and just the amount people get into these fights. And you read some of these comments and like Jesus Christ, especially when people try to like throw out quote unquote facts or statistics. I mean, what is the? I don't know what the goal is. What do you get out of it? You know, especially if you're someone with anxiety. Be mindful of what you're doing on the internet and why you're doing it. And if you're not being mindful and you are someone who has anxiety, you are someone who knows you're having anxiety either during or after or around the time you're doing this, maybe it's time to really like check yourself. Like, why am I even doing this? I guess you can say I can't help it. I have an opinion. I feel a certain way about this or that, and I have to chime in and I have to defend or whatever. However uh, um, manipulate. That's not the right word. However, you find yourself in an internet conversation, like perfect example. And again, this is I'm doing from my experience. Relatives of mine posted pictures of them or video of them at a shooting range, firing guns, whichever, which is very American. I like guns. I guess I'm more left leaning, but I do like guns. I like shooting. I think you should be able to buy a gun. I think you should be able to shoot the gun. Do I think you should be able to walk to McDonald's with an AR-15 on your shoulder? No, I don't think you should be able to do that. I think that's stupid. I don't understand the point of it anyway. So it's and then in the comments you're talking about whatever. It's fun and it's whatever. So I, making a joke, posted the quote from the movie Tropic Thunder. For those of you guys who've never seen Tropic Thunder, look it up. It's hilarious. For those who know, his name was Four Leaf Tayback. That was Nick Nolte's character. He had two hooks, right? And there was a scene in the movie where one of the guys asked him, like, hey, what's that? He's like cleaning his gun with his hooks and whatever. It's fucking funny. And they're like, what kind of gun is that? And he doesn't even look up. He just goes, I don't know what this gun is called. I just know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life. Which is fucking funny. So I put that quote in quotes, and as the quoted person, I put Four Leaf Tayback, thinking somebody will know who I'm talking about. That's a popular comedy from 10 years ago. And a relative of mine wrote this whole thing of like, well, the charter from 2016 states that I can buy a handgun and I'm defending myself and blah blah. Something about basically like Second Amendment right, blah. So did this person even read what I said? If they did they take a second to look who that? No, they just thought I was against guns or against them using guns and put this whole blurb out. So I wrote, hey, Four Leaf Tayback is a fictional character from the movie. Not an argument. I saw what happened. I could have obviously been like, hey, fuck you, man, blah, blah, blah. But instead, hey, Four Leaf Tayback is a fictional character from the comedy Tropic Thunder. You should check it out. It's really funny. And then he actually wrote back, hey, sorry, I thought you were you know how so and this is literally what he said. You know how Facebook is. People just and I said, yeah, I know, LOL, because yeah, I know. You didn't even take a second to look, and we all know that people do this now. They do not even read articles. They see that headline. Headlines are all clickbait with a picture and then 8 million comments. Did any, like murder hornets? Did anyone click on that article? I remember I clicked on it and I posted an excerpt from it. And people still fought with me. And my friend argued with me over the murder hornets about how serious it is. I'm like, it's really not. Especially now, it's really not that serious. No, I don't want the bees to die. The park rangers, forest rangers up in Washington or Oregon are on top of it. The end. That's not a concern. And again, this video isn't really about just people fighting on the internet. It's about me being an anxious person and able to like know that even though I try to make my own post as clear and it's not so much about bending to the will of the assholes. It's about if there's an opportunity for an argument, don't do it. Just don't. It's not about right or wrong or winning or losing. It's about your own peace of mind. Oh, I gotta. Speaking of Facebook, Jesus. It's just about you're in control of how you interact with the world. We're not in control of the virus. We're not in control of the universe. All those things, and we're all learning that now. But you are in control of what you do, and how, especially if you're someone with anxiety, how there are things that are going to trigger your anxiety, whether you like it or not. But this is something you have total control over. What you're saying, how you're saying, who and why and where you're interacting on the internet. And just be mindful of that. Fighting in the comments is fucking stupid. There is no, it's not a courtroom. No one is changing anyone's mind. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And unless you're fucking on some level sadistic and you get off on making other people angry, and I understand the comedy in that, like, just watch getting a rise out of someone, but someone you know, someone you love, someone that you are even vaguely are acquainted to, that's one thing. But just fighting with strangers on the internet, just to be a fucking piece of shit, like, why? It's just the most egomaniacal thing ever, and it does not serve you, especially if you have anxiety, especially if you're someone who gets anxious, and because like I said, I think on some levels, especially people with anxiety, being anxious for however long you've dealt with anxiety, you have like this almost addiction to feeling bad, to feeling anxious, to being in that comfort. Even though it's uncomfortable, you're comfortable in that uncomfort. That's why changing and getting better and growing hurts. I go through it all the time. My last video, you could hear it in my voice. I didn't even really know that's what it was in the moment. I mean, I definitely had a moment of like, I don't want to talk too loud, but I thought I was covering or hiding or whatever you want to call it. And then my friend watched the video and reached out to me because he thought like I was having a really bad time. I mean, obviously it's not fun being in quarantine and what's going on in the world. It's very sad and sucks and it's anxiety inducing for sure. But I wasn't even aware so much that I sounded like that. I thought I was fine. And if you want to go back and watch the video, it's the last episode. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Thanks for reaching out. I actually really appreciated him reaching out. It was nice, but I was like, wow. And I listened to it again. I was like, I guess I kind of do, and I still like I kind of don't, notice it, but it's there and it's affecting, your anxiety is affecting your where you are. I guess like not so much geographically, but like mindfully, and where you could be. It definitely is more of an anchor than a springboard. So even though you're used to or enjoy or are addicted to the feelings, emotions, and state that you're in, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't. And this kind of behavior, and I know it's rampant, and the more something is common, the more I guess fine it seems. It's not. Don't do it. I'm not trying to tell people what to do per se, but I do think if you have anxiety, to not um, get engaged in this kind of arguing and fighting on the internet. It's fucking weird. And I really want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you think. Are you in an internet fight right now? Have you never been? Have you done it in the past? Or are you someone who does it and you think I'm an idiot for having this kind of whatever? I want to hear what you have to say without arguing as best as possible. Have a conversation and talk through it. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about today. I'm going to make more videos later in the week. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope it looks pretty good with the green screen behind me. I got the universe, or yeah, I think I'm going to put the universe behind me. And hopefully it doesn't look too weird. I was testing out before. The edges kind of seem kind of weird. And my fucking Facebook now is blowing up, as you can hear. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like it. If you want to watch more videos, please subscribe. Like I said, leave me comments, feedback. If you want to listen to this video again in the audio version, the links will be down in the description for the audio version of this podcast and all past episodes. But thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool sidearm you got there. What is it?
I don't know what it's called. I just know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life.